On today's episode of the Command Center podcast, we're talking the art of defense. And Joe Witten is the painter, right? We talked about the next evolution of this defense heading into 2025. How do we get to be a top 10 group and how these new additions are going to help us get there? And I am dreaming of Dan Quinn. All starts right now.
Nightmares.
Welcome to the Command Center podcast. I'm Logan Paulson here with Fred Smoot and Santana Moss.
Yep.
Guys, how was Father's Day?
It was great, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I did my studies on Father's Day, and it turns out, Logan, that the public spends $10 billion more dollars on Mother's Day compared to Father's Day. Mm-hmm. How do you feel as a father knowing that we are shortchanged in that direction?
Well, I think, when it comes to mothers and fathers, mothers carry a lot of that burden. You know what I'm saying? Early on, they carry the baby, a lot of early stuff, changing diapers early. Not that I wasn't changing diapers or anything like that, but they're probably about 10 times more important to the
They
whole.
don't make us 10 times less important.
Just think about it though, as a father or as a dude, period.
Yeah.
Do you care if someone buy you something? No.
We don't.
Mothers do. Women do. They love gifts. They love to be, thought about.
I love that too.
So regardless of what it is, I just feel like of course they're gonna spend more money on mothers because women love nice things. We're buying women nice things daily. A father, a guy.
Yeah.
I don't want anything. I can get it myself. I'm okay.
Like, he gonna think.
So, what would you want for Father's Day?
No. He gonna think about it. Think about it. We take the mother on Mother's Day to a steak house.
Yeah.
All right. Maestro's.
I mean, not always.
DC Prime. Right? But a fine dinner.
Okay, good dinner.
They drop us off an uncooked steak that they just bought from Whole Foods.
Did you cook on Father's Day?
I did not cook.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My kids took me to that great French restaurant, Waffle House. All right. My kids know Dad is simple. Waffle House. I love Waffle House. That's one of my things. So my kids know, as long as we take Daddy to Waffle House, he pretty much good.
You paid for it. So
they took me to Waffle House, paid for it with my money, but it was all good. And we got to compete. My kids know I like to compete.
You go bowling, right, or something?
We cornhole. We played cornhole, which I won. We bowled, which Thanos won. And we enjoyed ourselves.
Can't help himself, man. You always got to win. You always got to be ahead of the curve. I love it, man. I love it. Well, let's check in about Father's Day. Always good to get you guys' opinion, what you guys are up to. Now, let's get our kind of admin stuff done. Just remember, we got that mega mailbag coming up. So if you want us to answer questions from you, please make sure you leave those questions at thathawkoutside@gmail.com. We want to make sure we get to all of them. Producer Jason's going through all that stuff, and we're going to have a great show when that comes around. But make sure thathawkoutside@gmail.com. Next thing up is Hail Tales Podcast. It's coming out soon. And if you're subscribed where you get your podcasts to this Commanders Podcast Network, it'll show up there. But it's a great show, man. If you're a fan of this team, if you're a fan of the history of this team, make sure you check it out. It's got the last game at RFK, talks about the history of that. It's got the body bag game.
I would say the body bag game. B. Mitch played quarterback that game.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's what he played. That was the body bag game because everybody got taken out. We had to put a running back at quarterback. Luckily, he was an ex-quarterback that played running back.
Dude, the fact that he played quarterback at any point in his life, he is so anti-quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine him calling the huddle.
If you hang out with B-Mitch for 5 seconds, you're like, no way.
Is he a quarterback?
He's just so tough. He's so gritty.
Imagine him get down on the knee in that huddle and looking at you, Logan, be like,
imagine you 17 his passes.
Dude, he would fight you.
Just think about what he's going to
what would you do when you came back to the huddle? You drop a B-Mitch pass.
Yeah, I ain't dropping B-Mitch pass. My dog.
Yeah, but the body bag game, they got the Vince Lombardi era, they got the Monday Night Miracle. Apparently, they got a bunch of people interviewed for that. Rybach, they got the kicker interviewed. So if you're a fan of the history of this team, of the big moments, that's a great show. It's going to be in the podcast network. Make sure you guys check it out. Apple, Spotify. Just make sure you're subscribed to the Commanders Podcast Network, which if you're listening to this, you should be.
Yeah.
And then just a reminder, this is important now. Make sure if we know you're going to buy tickets, right? They're going to buy tickets. They're
right there.
Fans.
You see that QR code? Right there. See that right there?
Right there.
Yeah.
Use that QR code, buy tickets. It really helps us out. So please, if you want to help us out while you're doing something you're already going to do, please make sure you get that done. And we got RFK Stadium news, right? Yep. We're excited about that. You're excited about that. But if you want to be updated right? Make sure you go to commanders.com/new stadium where you can sign up to learn more and show your support. That's the big one, right? Show your support.
Bring them home. Bring them home.
There we go, Fred. I like it.
Bring them home. Dude, that's what we need.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if you want it, which we know you want it, you got to show that you show their support by going to commanders.com/new stadium to get that done. So just a reminder, commanders.com/new stadium to support the RFK deal. So let's make sure we do that. Get your tickets using the QR code.
Yeah.
Hail Tales podcast, that's coming up, and the mega mailbag. So those are the big four things.
Mm-hmm. Great job by you, brother.
That's all the housekeeping. So now we can get into
talking some football.
Talking football,
yes,
but specifically defense. The art of the defense, right? And so I think, we're kind of in this time of year where we're kind of looking forward towards training camp. It's a very exciting time. Kind of look back at last year, things that they did well, things that they could do better. Mm-hmm. So let's just start from the jump and basically kind of explain to the listeners and the viewers, if you're watching on YouTube, Joe Whitt Jr. and his scheme. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What type of scheme, what type of defense does he play? Let's just start at the simplest one. And I guess I can start here, right?
Yeah.
So to me, when I watch them on film, they are a base 4-down team. Mm-hmm. So that means there's 4 defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. Usually they play an over front. So they're going to have one defensive tackle
plus
kind
one.
Of shade to the strong side. He's going to line up on the outside shoulder of the guard.
Yeah.
They're going to have somebody over the outside shoulder of the tackle. They're going to have a backside shade, so someone on the shoulder of the center. Mm-hmm. So those 4 guys are there. And then they play anywhere from 4 to 3 linebackers.
Yeah.
And if they're a nickel, they play 2. And they kind of want to be a single high safety team.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they are in 2 high safety, usually they're rotating to a single high look.
Yep.
But they can play 2. They can play 3. They can play quarters.
Yeah. Very versatile.
Do you think that's a fair characterization of what they do?
Multiple fronts.
Yeah. I call it multiple fronts, but I also call it the outside to inside defense.
What do you mean by that?
They protect the outside, meaning they protect the corners. It's a corner-friendly defense that puts more pressure on the interior to make plays than it does the outside.
You said that in the production meeting. So, what? All
right, the responsibility, like different defenses protect different people. Mm-hmm. All right. And in this defense, when I say corner friendly, they want the corners to make plays. Yeah. So if you want the corners to be aggressive and make plays, that's why they always keep one safety in the middle of the field to make sure they never have to cover posts. Mm. All right. They eliminate route trees. Yeah. All right. And when you eliminate route trees, that means I need to have some big boys up front that can handle their self. Like I can independently let them go do their job without have to second guess it. That's why the key position in this one, and I know everybody gonna say the key position in every defense is the middle linebacker, but the key to this defense is the middle linebacker.
Yeah. Do you think they did that because Bobby's here? Do you think that was a point of emphasis? Because it makes sense to me. Like why not have a guy with the most experience kind of
lead the dog. That's why it's a middle linebacker led defense. And in doing that, you funnel everything back inside to these guys.
So being that you're a defensive guy, and I love asking these kind of questions to you in London, when you look at the difference from how the Cowboys played it 2 years ago with the same staff, what's different? Because we have that middle linebacker?
No. We have the middle linebacker they didn't have, and we're bigger interior than they were.
Got you.
That's why if you look at it, when they was there, everybody used to break runs. It was in the C gap, maybe. Yeah. It's going out.
Just for those who don't know.
But the reason why I asked that question too, because I feel like we both had the same handicap. We both had a problem with stopping the run.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So what makes us different?
Because it's a lighter box. It's only a lighter box.
So here, let's just shift it into neutral for a second. Yeah. So when we say box, it's basically people that you've designated to stop the run.
Yeah. Stop the run.
Right? So you people throw that term around all the time. So usually if you got 6 blockers, you've got 7 defenders.
Yes.
Now with modern defense,
we're going to have 6 defenders. Yeah, so it's 6 on 6. It's even.
Yeah. It's even, right? Yeah. So you got to play like a gap and a half because everyone's got to beat a blocker and
somebody
make a tackle.
Has to win.
Because you want more coverage focus, right?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, Tenny, you ask about the difference between Dallas and now. Like one of the things about Dallas is I felt like they really wanted to be in man coverage a lot.
Yeah.
They wanted to be in man coverage and then their changeup was some type of Tampa 2, right? Basically, right? Or some type of fire zone.
Yeah.
100%. And so when I look at this now, I thought last year Joe Whitt Jr. played way more zone than he wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? Because again,
that's because of personnel.
I would say there was a personnel thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'd say. And again, like we talked about the fronts, 4 down front, they can get in 3 down fronts. They have some flexibility, right? To disguise. But I think at their core,
All right, think about this defense. I want y'all to go back to Green Bay. Like everybody likes to go back to the Cowboys, or they like to go back to Seattle. I say go back to Green Bay.
Joe Jr. was there, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, when you go back to Green Bay, this defense is very much built like Peyton Manning's Colts defense, built to play with a lead.
Oh, okay.
You me.
Bless you.
No, bless you. It's built to play with a lead. All right, that means we're going to rush the passer. We're built more for the pass than we are to run.
Yeah.
All right, and that's how I want. That's why I want y'all to really think about this defense. Now, what we did in the offseason, we reinforced. No, we're gonna really get bigger for the run, and we're gonna force you to pass.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna take a whole different direction to this thing, and we're gonna force you to pass. So I anticipate us playing a little bit more zone than we did last year, and being more forceful on first down. Yeah. First down, we're gonna play more man. After that, we're gonna play more zone.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of would say so, talking about strengths and weaknesses of the team, like Tanny, you brought it up, like them stopping the run wasn't a great thing last year. And I think we can all attest to that. They were, I don't know if they were last, but they really struggled in terms of in that category. And so one of the things you look at is you say, I feel like this defense, and Fred alluded to it a little bit, is you want to make sure that you are gap sound, forcing the ball back to the mic.
Yes.
Essentially is what you're trying to do. And so when you get guys on the edge, like Dante Fowler, who again, I thought had a great year in terms of sack production.
Sack production, but run support, different.
And so when you look at some of the explosive runs, I think they were the third highest in terms of explosive runs given up.
Yeah.
Like they really had a hard time with that. So what they've done is they've gone out and got Dietrich Wise, they re-signed Cleveland Farrell, they've got Holmes, they've got Kinlaw. Guys Goldman is a great, I'm really glad you brought that up, Tana. Guys that are a little bit more stout on the interior, but also bigger on the edges.
Yeah.
To again, because they play a 6 technique. And so like think about if I'm a tight end, a 6 technique lines up directly over my face.
In your face mask.
That's a really hard technique to play.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a 9, like it's easy to box the run. I can just attack the tight end's outside shoulder, turn their butt in the hole, and then their back has to cut it back. When they're a 6, they kind of have to 2 gap, which is really challenging. So like when getting a bigger body in that spot is going to be really helpful.
Because that allows you to get penetration. If I get penetration, like it's a difference between me literally getting the block right here and just stymieing the block and me going 2 steps ahead of you and trying to penetrate. Like now we got guys that they here to play the run.
So that's similar to, and I don't like to be talking about nobody else, but when you look at a team like the Giants, they had that big dude in the middle.
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence.
Are we doing some of the things similar to how he clogged things up?
So that's a great question because that's more of a 3-down front. Yeah. So what I'd say is like you get like a nose guard and 2 4 eyes, and then 2 guys on the perimeter, 9 technique to box the edges. This is like who else runs this? Like Minnesota ran this.
I would say Minnesota runs it. Detroit runs it.
They do run a version of it. Yeah. So a lot of people run a version of this with like crash 9s. Yeah. So those wide 9s to kind of box the run.
Yeah.
We are a little bit tighter with our alignments here. And again, like there's pros and cons to that. It makes it easier
to bounce to
force the ball to bounce, which is what you want. It gives the linebacker time to take a good angle and make that play.
Yeah.
Right. So there are pros and cons, but I think getting
Do you prefer a bounce though? Do you want to?
I want him to bounce. Like,
want him to bounce.
As a defensive player,
your corners to tackle.
Like if I can get him to bounce, he going laterally, not vertically. Like I don't want him.
Oh, sideline. Now you got now the floor of your defense.
We can chase him.
Got you.
Because if not, we're gonna be chasing him vertically. Yeah. That's a whole different pattern that we want.
But I just, the reason why I asked that because when he explained it about having a guy wider and making him turn his butt into the hole, to me, as a guy who has to block, you never want to turn your butt into the hole. You know what I mean? You never want to slow things down for that run. You want to get that runner a 2-way go. You want to get him a way where he say,
if he hit that crease, I
can cut off him and go inside, or I can go outside. Yeah. To me, I think that's harder for you to defend. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I asked that question. Just hearing you say that.
It's a great point. I think it's harder for defenses to play a true 6, and they don't play it's like kind of it's a tight 9.
Yeah,
but it's like But as a tight end, I always preferred that because they're right on top of you and get on them quick. Yeah. And it's harder for the defensive player. But if you get someone who can play it well, it covers you up versus a lot of different run looks, and you can play the 6-man box that we were talking about, like if they're a nickel, right? It gives you some more flexibility, which is why I think you play the front. Like this is the same type of front that Seattle played. Yeah. But the way that Seattle played it to get around it, this is back in the day when people couldn't throw the way they throw now.
I would say, but they had Michael Bennett, who was excellent in the run. Like everybody talk about his pass rushing. Yeah. The reason they was good with the Legion of Doom because Michael Bennett destroyed run plays. I'm talking first, second down. And anytime you get behind the downs with this defense, you're talking 2nd and 13 or 2nd and 11. That's when this defense fires off.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a great point with Seattle. You had some really good football players there, but also they did a really good job of like what Tana's talking about of making sure they had overhangs.
Yeah.
You can't do that as much anymore because
they passing the ball
because the passing game is so crazy. But I do think 4 down, kind of these tight 9-6 technique type of alignments, and I do think. So to me, getting people that are just going to be in the right spots are going to be really helpful in terms of clearing that stuff up. When looking at, again, that's the run game. And I think that's going to be a big change in terms of making it more positive is just getting personnel. Like we talked about the edges there a little bit. I also think getting a guy like Goldman in there that plays that backside shade.
They will not move.
That's dealing with the guard center double teams quite a bit. That's going to keep guys off of Bobby.
Yes,
right?
It is.
You always hear Fletch talk about how like Ray Lewis had Tony Siragusa and Adams
Sam Adams.
Like he's kind of that body type.
I remember that one year he didn't have him, boy.
And get what?
He whined like
and he was getting pushed to the side.
He made sure they brought somebody back.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And so I think that's, in terms of biggest weaknesses from last year, stopping the run is one that really sticks out to me.
Yeah.
And I felt like it wasn't so much a scheme thing. It was more of a personnel thing.
Yeah.
Because even late in the year, for example, like you'd see like an RPO, for example, or like from Philly.
Yeah.
An RPO is like run pass option. And you would see the guys kind of freelancing it. And when you're playing an RPO, you gotta
do your job.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think getting more confidence in those guys on the edges doing their thing, that's going to help the linebackers. That's going to help the secondary. That's going to help the nickel players do what they're supposed to do. So I think that's.
So are you really to agree with me about interior over edge?
Well, so in this defense, I actually think edges are important. Like they're really important.
Are you willing to agree that interior rushers are more important than edge? Right.
I mean, if you got a beast one, for sure. I don't think I've ever been really pushing back.
I think they go hand in hand, though.
Yeah, like I think you're saying that because I think this is my issue with your argument. So if you're not familiar, this is the first time you're watching the show. Fred's argument is that an interior pass rusher is more valuable because if you look at the teams that have won Super Bowls, they've had interior pass rushers. And I just don't agree with that as a data point to support that.
All right. Okay, can we agree? TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, are these not like the top pass rush edge rushers?
Yeah.
No Super Bowl, no Super Bowl, no playoffs, no playoffs, no playoffs, no playoffs.
TJ Watt got a Super Bowl?
No. All right. Chris Jones, interior. Super Bowl.
Okay.
All right. Jalen Carter, interior, Super Bowl. All right. Sweat wasn't the threat. Jalen Carter was the threat.
I mean, Jalen Carter is like a unicorn. Like that's the thing. It's like
no.
I think it's tomato though, because I do believe in.
But if you put
both,
if you put Chris Jones on Pittsburgh,
it don't mean he's gonna get a Super Bowl.
No.
Because he got
Patrick. This is my thing on it. This is my take on it.
All I'm saying is, let's go through the top 5 edge rushers. Let's go through the top 5 interior. Who got the most playoff wins?
I hear your argument, but it's just not those guys by themselves that's winning on Super Bowls.
No, it's nothing by yourself. It's nothing by yourself.
But I'm saying to your argument, I would say that I do kind of side with you when it comes to interior, only for the fact that if you have a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning style quarterback, I'm collapsing his, the guys in front of him, putting them on his lap. Now he has to, a guy that's not mobile, he got to get rid of that football.
Even the mobile guy got to get through. If I'm coming through the A gap.
See, that argument makes more sense to me. That argument makes more sense. Because it's like, yes, I do think interior pass rush is valuable because of that reason.
Yeah.
Not because they're winning Super Bowls.
No. If you do the numbers, if you crunch these numbers now, I know your dad is an astronaut. Me and your dad got more coming than you and your dad. All right, check this out. All I'm telling you, look at the numbers of the top 5 D tackles and look at the numbers of the top 5 edge rushers. You tell me who's affecting the game. All right, the interior affects the run game.
They closer
it affects the pass game. It's 3 downs of affecting it.
Yeah.
All right, edge rushers primarily affect on passing downs.
Sure.
I'm talking about somebody that affect first, second, and third.
Gotcha.
I mean, they do affect every
Fred, one thing about you, we can't argue with you. So I mean, you're never wrong.
We can't argue. We can't.
Never wrong.
Yeah.
No, because I just get tired of turning on my radio and all I hear is people, when we gonna get an edge rusher?
Yeah.
When we gonna get an edge rusher? And I'm like,
but that's just like when you got guys that saying you need some receivers. Well, when you have a great quarterback,
you don't need no great receivers.
You don't need great receivers. You need capable. You know what I mean? You need guys you can go out and get the ball to. And that goes back to your argument as when we're going to get edge rushers. When you have a core of guys, meaning that you have a nice front interior, seven. Yeah. You have guys in the interior. You have capable guys on the outside. Together, collectively, they make up for just having one guy, one special guy. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you brought up the interior because I do think one of the things about this defense, going back to Dallas specifically, is they were always a little bit soft, a little bit light in the interior.
Yeah.
And I think they've taken really good steps here.
Kinlaw is a good step.
So tell me this, though. Tell me this. You said it, so I have to ask this question. Yeah. Do you think we was light or soft last year? Because I feel like we had a great interior years before, prior to this defense.
Well, I told you this defense is catered for the edges. Mm-hmm. And when you do that,
so it took a lot off of the guys in the inside.
It put a lot on them.
It put more on them
because they two gapping.
Got you.
All right, and the best time if you really want a defensive interior guy to dominate, let him one gap. Let him find out where he going and get there.
So basically, this defense took a lot from those guys in the inside.
Ask more of them
who excelled the previous years. When it came to sacks and stuff like that, but they couldn't hold up when I guess the pressure was now on them to kind of keep things.
Well, I think it's just more or less who are you gonna cater for on your defense? Like most of the defense I played for, they were like, "Hey, go play man to man. We're gonna draw everything for the inside guys." Yeah. All right, this is more. We're gonna take care of the outside guys. Y'all need to hold the fork down.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes also, again, like this is a tomato type of thing or chicken and egg, like which comes first, is like when you play lighter boxes, when you emphasize defending the pass more
than the rush.
One of the things is like double teams sit longer, right? Because I don't have to worry about getting all the way back to this guy, right? I can really sync on this. So you have to get guys, in my opinion, watching last year, like watching Jerzon, watching Duran, who I think is a really good run player.
Yeah.
Watching, insert your other player that played here is like, I don't care how good you are. If I get 4 hands on you, these offensive linemen are too good.
Too good.
Right? So you need to get and find guys. And I think you see a team's prioritizing. Like Poona Ford, for example, he's a defensive tackle for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Just got paid like $10 million a year. He's a run-stopping tackle.
Yes.
Because there is value to it on first and second down. So going out and finding a guy like Goldman, I think is a really good example. Like when you watch him, he knows how to play off double teams. He knows how to split them.
He will split them
in a way that is unique to him. Yeah. Right? And so I think when you look at, if you can get a guy to play that shade, so like you're in double team land all the time, a 3 technique, you can get away with it a little bit. But if you can get a guy in there that's good at that on first, second down, he's only going to play 20 plays a game, 15 plays a game. Like that adds a lot of value because it cleans it up for Bobby. Because when you watch Bobby, when you watch Frankie, they're not like, I think when you think back to like Ron, when he talked about linebackers, like, why are John and Duran not playing well? It's because the linebackers aren't coming downhill. Yeah. This defense, we're not coming downhill.
Yeah, I would say
we're not saving you.
We're funneling it to you
because Bobby's got to make the play outside the hash. He's got to make the play in the B gap and the C gap. He's got to. It's not a one gap defense, right? Because of this light box scenario, right? Yeah. So if you can get a guy in there that's good at that, then you can alleviate some of the pressure on Duran. He can just play the 3 technique.
Yes.
Or Jerzon can play the 3 technique.
And
or
just Kinlaw can play
the 3 technique, right? And so then you can get into these passing downs, and now you've got actual pass rush juice on the interior, like we were talking about. Like I can't wait to watch Duran like be the guy and rush the passer. Yeah. Jerzon, when you watch him from college, he got juice. When you watch Kinlaw's cut-ups, dude, there's sometimes where it looks like a runaway freight train. Yeah. So I think the whole defense perspective now is like, so last year, for example, they were 9th in terms of the run plays they saw. That's a pretty high percentage, right? They were 24th in terms of passes. That's because they're not good at stopping the run.
Yeah.
So once we can stop the run,
force them to pass,
put the fence up, right? With these bigger edge players, these better guys in the interiors, let Bobby do his thing. Now all of a sudden,
now you're a one-trick pony.
You see what I'm saying? Like we've changed the parameters here. We're still the core of who he wants to be.
We got bigger to win first down. We got bigger in the trenches to win first down. If you win first down, second and third down becomes, how should I call it? Very easy for us. All right. If I get you behind the chains in 2nd and 11, you're a passing team. You're a passing team. And now I know you're a passing team. And now we're finna do what we do well. Yeah. We do best, and it's cover.
Yeah. And they're 3rd in the NFL in pass defense last year with 189.5 yards, which is awesome.
Because they didn't have to throw.
Correct. So now we're going to force that.
Yeah.
But now we got, Trey Amos, we got Mike Sanders still, we got Marshawn Lattimore.
We got Will Harris.
We got Quan Martin in the back end. And I think this is another thing where you see a vision. I love, like, we've talked about this all the time, Tana. It's like when the GM has a vision for the offense and the defense, like they're basically like, we were bad in this, we're going to get better. We're going to get you to 2nd and 10, and we're going to dare you to throw the football.
All right.
Because we got a bunch of dudes who can play man.
Who can play the ball.
And then, Tana, right? How many times we talk about that?
Yeah.
Dudes who aren't going to be lost playing the football.
No. Play the football. But the reason we need to win first down is because if you see a quarterback like Jedi 5 standing on the other sideline, I'm going to run the ball because now that defensively keeps him over there. But they said no more. We're going to win first down, and we're going to force you to pass the ball and put the balls in harm's way so we can get 5 back on the field. That's what they did with the guys they went and got in the offseason.
It's interesting. Like, Fred, you said this, and I experienced this when I was in Atlanta. Like, the defense was built to play with a lead.
Yes. And
then you hurt yourself on first, second down a little bit, right? Because, like, unless the game script starts flipping, right, where it's like 2-minute situations, end of game scenarios, second half where you're down, we got to throw the ball a ton. You're putting that smaller, undersized defensive line in a tough spot.
Yeah.
And I think Fred brought up a great point, because he does that every once in a while, right? Is he said, like, we got bigger to be better when the game flow's not
in our favor.
Right? So now I don't want to say we got 2 teams, but we got guys that you can kind of like the Bass Bros. You put them out there.
I can play 2 different games.
Yeah. And then I look at when, hey, man, it's 2nd and 11 or 3rd and 12.
Frankie Louvu come off that end.
Yeah, Frankie Louvu come out here. Jacob Marks come out here. Right? We got some people that can blitz. We got some people that can rush. We got, and again, like there's
Jean Baptiste, where you at?
Yes.
It's your time to shine.
Yeah. And so I think like it kind of reminds me a little bit like a hockey rotation.
But that's what we talk. We just asked this question the other day. Do you want a variety of different kind of players or do you want the same kind
type of moves?
And that answer that question right there.
A variety.
You want a variety because you want to be able to play different styles of play.
Each game gonna come with its challenges.
And ideally you want somebody who can do both.
Yeah. But that's a perfect world. Right? That's a perfect world. The world ain't perfect.
Right.
I'm gonna get these guys in here and I'm gonna get bigger so I can win first down. Because when I win first down, it changes.
I would love variety with the same output of
production. You said that the other day. I think that's a great point. So I think that's kind of the way. Okay. Scheme, I think it'll be largely the same.
Yeah.
But I think if you can make some of these personnel improvements, you're going to be cooking. Now let's get a little bit deeper on the coverage, right? So I see, Fred, and I want to get your perspective on this. I see a team that wants to play more man coverage.
Yes, they do.
Because it allows you to pressure more, right? We can blitz more. We can just do some different things with rotation in the back end. We can have lurk players.
And press man. They don't want to play off man. They want to play press man
Put
coverage.
Your hands in his face.
Like reach out and touch somebody like AT&T used to do.
And so, Fred, what are some pros and what are some cons of man coverage versus zone if you're a cornerback, I guess?
This is what I love playing man. I want to simplify the route tree. All right. Tanner know this. When we walk down and press, the check goes quickly to slant or fade. All right. No matter what the play is called sometimes.
Is that true?
You have adjustments. That's his way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I got to let him be right.
No. I'm just saying,
I get what he's saying.
From the quarterback perspective,
I get what he's saying.
The tree simplifies.
Right.
All right? Will they still run comebacks? Will they still run digs? Yes.
Yeah.
But the quickest check is, hey, they pressing us.
Yeah, basically what he's saying is for a quarterback, them the routes I need to be available.
Yeah.
Right.
If I got to come back and even if he's pressing me, that guy's, because we have routes to adjust and still run. I mean, we have ways to get off the line of scrimmage. Like if I have a 7 route and you come out and press me, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna beat your press and get inside you and still run that 7. You see what I'm saying? But what you're saying is the quarterback needs that slant now. He needs that. He don't want those. And that's what I'm talking about when I talked about the other day about like when you don't have time, it don't matter who you got out there pressing.
It don't matter.
When you don't have time, that guy got to go elsewhere with the ball.
But that's why that press and that rush goes together. All right, I got to put my hands on him. I'm not going up there to press him to run with him.
Yeah.
I'm going up there to 1 Mississippi, to 2 Mississippi. Yeah. I'm trying to get this play over with.
You're trying to disrupt me in my route and also make the quarterback pick somebody else.
And while doing it, I'm also trying to not undress the coverage. That's what I do love about press man to opposite to off man. Like I can press you in cover 4.
Yeah.
Like, and the one thing about zone is actually route reading.
Yeah.
Like when we in zone, we really read number 2. We never read number 1.
Number 1 being the widest guy.
The widest guy.
Number 2, the guy in the slot.
We either reading the slot receiver or we reading the tight end.
Yeah, because they're going to tell you where the high and low.
They're going to tell me where I'm going. If the slot receiver go now to the outside, the other dude coming inside. Everything is a combination. So once I read number 2 in zone, it's up to me to blurt out and communicate to my safety and my backer what's going on. So we got to talk more in zone, and man-to-man is more of job, pace, tempo. This is what we want in man. Like in man, we finna try to force you to do something that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah. And also I think of, maybe I'm wrong, Fred, but I also think of man coverage as the time where like we're trying to get the rush home. Right? We're trying to bring 5. We're trying to get 6.
Home.
Trying to get home so you don't have to cover very long.
Yeah.
I think about Pittsburgh did this for a long time when they were in man coverage. It was they were coming to heat you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that they bring an element of that here in they can bring an element of that now.
I remember we ran a couple of those. I think Fred was gone by that time, but Mike used to love calling that zero blitz.
Oh, the rain. Yeah.
That damn London didn't like that.
Because Greg Williams,
especially if you don't have the right personnel out there.
Russian, we played so much zero. But we would do it, and this is why.
So zero means there's no safety in the middle of the field. There's no help. It's me and you.
Boy, mano a mano.
Yeah.
And we ran it in the red zone.
Oh.
And we ran it over and over.
Did it work?
It always worked. We was the number 1 defense in the league. We gonna heat you up.
You gotta have a really good plan.
Quarterback gotta make his decision now. Yeah. And actually, I always tell quarterback this. If they don't make the decision pre-snap, we already won. Like they need to make that decision before the ball is snapped. So when I seen them not checking, I dig in. Like now I'm ready now. Cause all I gotta do is touch him. Once I touch him, now we done already won this down.
Yeah.
But once he check at the line, now I'm looking. Yeah. Now I'm like, all right, I wonder what he checked to. Then I'm looking at Tanner and see, did Tanner just move inside that number? Or did he move outside that number? I'm trying to get any key I can get.
Yeah. I wonder if they do run more zero. They did not run a ton of zero last year. I don't know. They did a little bit in Dallas.
I would say last year wasn't the year to run zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the coverage wasn't there.
The coverage wasn't there.
Yeah. It's that's you got to really
trust. You got to be studs out there.
You got to be good at it too.
I saw Wes Welker run 13 routes on D Hall, man. I met D Hall on the field like, it's not your fault, brother. Brady's back there tapping the ball so much. I said, our line was sitting at this windmilling in the air.
You can't do that.
They didn't get nowhere, bro. And it's like, it hurts the DB, especially when you have great defensive backs.
Yeah.
He cannot cover that long. You know what I mean? It's impossible.
And it's zero coverage.
You got to get out to the quarterback.
Yeah, and it's interesting thinking about zero, thinking about man coverage. And again, they're not going to only play man. They're not going to only play a 4 down. They have some flexibility, have some variety. Just to be clear, this is, I think, what they want to be doing specifically on 3rd down.
How you want to dictate yourself as a defense?
Right.
Like, it's only one way for us to dictate the offense, and that's just to attack.
Yeah.
Like if we don't attack, we sitting and taking punches.
And so when I think about this man, probably a little bit more pressure, like on 3rd down specifically, man pressures, whatever, fire zones, different things like that to kind of disrupt the offense. How important is a guy like Will Harris to that?
First of all, Will is this. He's a mouth. Yeah. And I will not underestimate communication. If we ain't on the same page, we ain't got a chance. All right, we are a boy band. All right, if we ain't spinning at the same time, the 4 tops ain't selling no tickets. All right? We have to communicate because that allows us to steal.
Yeah.
All right? Like the one thing I used to love having Sean Taylor as my free safety. Receiver just ain't trying to go over the middle. So guess what? I stopped playing.
Post
and digs. I don't play them no more. And if I tell Sean, check this out. If he know I'm tapping the back of my thigh, I'm telling Sean I'm not moving. I'm not finna backpedal. I feel like they finna do something short and I'm finna go get it. So it's this interlink communication, and that's what Will Harris brings. He's a yapper that loves to take on information.
Yeah, and then go ahead.
And spit it back out. Like I love people to take in what the offense is showing me and regurgitate it to me.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's just a simple motion, man, or you by yourself or whatever. Communicate with me. That allows me to play faster.
Have you seen that in OTAs at all?
I have.
Yeah.
I've seen them moving around. I've seen them yapping. And I've seen them I'm always looking for the head turns. Yeah. Like when I see a cornerback head turn, that means he's taking in information. Last year, I'd never really seen Benjamin St. Juste head turn a lot. He was locked in. He was just I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a job to do.
Yeah.
No, I need to see you taking in constantly because the play constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know good safeties. And the one thing about it is Quan is a good communicator. Will Harris is a good communicator. And when you got that at the safety position, they giving me an edge over the corner. Over the wide receiver that I can't get without them.
I also think he brings like a
versatility.
Yeah, like some more flexibility. If you want to play man coverage, I feel comfortable about him doing that. I think he's good in coverage. I think he's a really good blitzer.
Yeah, he is.
Right? I think he's good against the run. So if you want to play that like nickel.
Big nickel, he can do all that.
With that guy kind of in the box, that overhang player, like that's a great fit for that. So I don't know. I just think it's like when I look at the defensive line, I'm like, man, they really brought in a lot of pieces that fill in holes from last year.
Yeah.
And when I look at that addition specifically in the secondary, like Jones, right? Jonathan Jones, like also just bringing in depth, bringing in some flexibility, bringing in guys that have played man coverage, that can play man coverage, I think is extremely important. And I would imagine it gives the defensive coordinator a lot of confidence. I don't know, Tano.
It gives me a lot of confidence. I tell you, I watched the defensive backs primarily when being a receiver, being a former guy that had to go up against these guys ad nauseum. And when I used to watch us, I used to always, we'd be watching the game, I go to shaking my head like, I already see something that's going to happen. And it's not even about because the play is never over until the play is over. But when you see a corner that you're not confident in that, or he's not confident, that's a weak link. And that makes everybody weak. You see what I'm saying? So, think about it in those games where we won a couple of them, but it got late in the game where we have the lead and
you weren't sure we were going to keep.
One or two guys might pass interference because they just can't cover.
Yeah.
Now you bring in guys that know I'm going to cover this dude.
Yeah.
I ain't got to play. I ain't got to pity pat with him.
And I'm never in panic.
You know what I mean? I ain't got to panic. They gonna think twice to throwing this ball to me because who I am. You see what I'm saying? And that's what a guy like Harris brings now to that secondary, along with the added corners, because now you have guys back there that can actually cover. And then you have guys in safety that you can't even read. You don't know if he's at safety. You don't know if he's strong or free.
Or strong safety.
Bingo. And so that's what I like about just seeing what we added to the secondary, just knowing that, man, I can rest assured and say, when in doubt, it won't be no more Pittsburghs. What happened to us last year, the last play of the game where I'm not reading down and distance. I don't know that. I can't give up a go route right now. It's a down that I just can't give up a go route.
20 yards.
I can give up all this in front of me, but I ain't giving you that. You see what I'm saying? Now you have guys that understand that part of the game.
And I was going to say, Tana, like you've played against all different types of cornerbacks. You've played against young guys, old guys. Do you find that guys with more experience are better in those moments because they've just seen it? And so now, again, like I go back to the ads, right? They're dudes with a lot of experience, playing a bunch of different defenses. And it just seems like, I don't know, when I played against dudes that knew a lot of stuff, it made it hard for me to be successful.
Because they don't waste motion. They don't waste steps.
And not only that, I mean, you got to think about it. I was here. Let me tell you how long I've been playing. We had a guy in Breland. Breland was so young and raw. So he was just raw. You know, I mean, it was like, he wasn't here. Athletically, he can go out there and cover the best of them. Then you put a guy like D Hall in his ear and tell him, no, bro, look at this.
Do this way.
Breeden needs to come pick my brain. Tanner, so what you saw on that man on man? Man, it's man to man. I'm gonna kill you. Because you're not thinking about the down and distance.
And protecting
You're not thinking
yourself.
about where your help at. I got you, because I know you're thinking about, I'm just trying to run with this guy. I'm trying to make sure I'm gonna give you all kind of moves to think I'm gonna give you a different route and beat you. And then you get him a year or two, or not even a year, in the middle of that season, I watched his game tremendously change. Because he's checking somebody in practice every day with me that's playing and that's talking to him. And then you got a D Hall on his team that's telling him, man, before you know it, he wasn't fooled by nothing. So just to get back to your question, when you have veterans, when you have guys that just know, man, look here, I ain't got to go out here and work too hard. It's about working smart. Why should I sit out here and go out here? I'm going to take what I see what the offense is trying to do. I'm going to take that away and then now use my help. And even when you in man, you can use help.
You still got a safety in the middle.
You still got a safety in the middle field, or you have the sideline. And a lot of these DBs, they don't use the sideline. We talked about that all last year. Like, that's your friend back there. Use that.
That's your ally.
Ride him on that sideline. It's tough for us to be able to get away from that.
And thinking back to some of those conversations we had in the season last year, about guys seemingly not playing. We don't know the defense. We don't get any.
But not playing to the strength of the coverage.
We knew the coverage. Seem that. It doesn't seem that way.
We knew the coverage. Yeah. We didn't know what they was doing, though.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of really cool additions in the secondary. I think about the leadership those guys provide. Like Tanner, that example is perfect because it's like the linebackers had some, the defensive lines had guys like that, but the secondary hasn't really had that guy to be like, hey, man, I'm a veteran. I've been here before.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Fred, have you ever had anybody in your career? I guess when you first got in,
I would say I had guys from the time I got in to the time I left.
Them damn guys. Yeah.
Well, think about it. Let's not talk about the first group.
Yeah. But you had a lot of
me, D. Hall, Carlos Rogers, Sean Springs, me, Antoine Winfield. Yeah. I have always been paired with another good corner.
I was going to say, you probably don't even talk about the other guys because of the other Hall of Famers you played with.
Dude, like some of those guys are border Hall of Famers you just mentioned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You came back here with a Blue. I know we give Blue for a lot of flack, man.
Blue was still with that boy.
That boy was smart.
No, Blue can play the game of football.
Like Blue and his size.
Yes.
Like, bro, like I look at him like, all right, I'm finna just go gadget legs because I'm finna beat him because I know I'm faster. You see what I'm saying? But if I let him just go out there and think about what I got going on,
oh no,
I'm dead.
No,
I'm dead in the water.
You gotta realize Blue led us 1 year in sacks, and me and him tied in interceptions.
Yeah.
So he was leading the team in sacks and tied at first with interceptions. Mm-hmm. Like, how many corners do that?
Yeah.
And he played the nickel. You see how big he is?
Big joker,
and he played inside.
Yeah, he can arguably been a damn strong safety back in them days. Like, he was that big out there playing corner and could run with you. So,
Fred, man, you're so lucky you get to play with some really good football players. So that's obviously where we think the defense is at currently. And this is maybe a better question for Fred because I really have no idea. Like, what kind of changes would you have made in an offseason, from one offseason to the next, like in terms of evolving the defense? Or is it like, this is who we are, and we're going to add a little sprinkling of
layer cake? I'm just going to layer the cake right now.
What we did.
Yeah. I'm going to do the same thing we did. We're going to get better at what we do. And I'm going to add some more because now I got some guys that I trust.
Yeah. So what's an example of something you could add? Like, are you adding blitzes? Are you adding coverages? Are you adding rules?
No, we're adding situational football.
Okay.
Where we tried to just survive on third down.
Now we're
going to thrive on third down. Like, that's the down. That's the down of all downs.
Yeah.
Third down is the down of all downs. We're going to start to dictate third down instead of being dictated to.
Yeah.
Like last year, we got dictated on third down and we'll take a punch or we'll dodge a punch. Now we're going to throw punches.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to throw punches because now I am freed up to play man-to-man on third down.
Mm-hmm.
I am freed up to go zone blitz. I am freed up. I can go zero if I feel like it.
And I'm sure Joe Witt Jr. is going to be better at calling games. Like, hey, like I showed man this last time. Let's show man disguise, but it's really Tampa 2, or man.
Let me put Frankie Louvu on the right. Let them think I'm coming from the right. I'm coming from the left. So
they did some cool stuff with that last year.
I'm going to say he's going to play some Jedi mind tricks with some offenses now.
And that's just because he's more experienced.
He's more experienced,
and then got guys that he can really. He got guys in the back end that he can trust.
The one thing you cannot do as a defensive coordinator is call the defense you want without the back end, like knowing my back end is going to take care of it.
I didn't really think about that. A lot of times we didn't show it a lot because our defense was just ferocious together. Them boys they was hungry every time, every down. But at times you can see, especially being a former receiver in this league, you can see that
he hesitant.
We don't want him to get beat over there.
Yeah.
We don't want to leave that open.
Let's run this cover.
We're running this coverage because we're trying to protect somebody on this field. So when you can see that, when we can sit in the box and see that, just think about what that OC doing in the box.
He see it too.
Ooh, he don't want him to get beat, so I'm gonna do something. I'm
coming in. I'm gonna send George Pickens over there.
Still find a way to get this ball off, but now they're gonna protect him and leave this guy over here open. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely. And so we've talked a lot about, scheme evolution, player evolution because of free agency. And I think this is maybe a fun one. And Fred, you bringing this up every time we talk about it, is like, who are the guys that got to take the next step in the defense for them to go from, like, I think they're going to be pretty good this year.
I think they'll be good.
And again, pretty good could be anywhere from, in my opinion, like 19 to 8.
Top half of the league.
Top half of the league. But like, is there a guy you're like, hey, these guys got to take the next step, and then they're in top half now, we're top 10, top 15.
I want vintage 2022 Daron Payne.
Me too. I think we all want that.
I want, and I feel that it's finna happen.
Yeah.
Like 2002 vintage, I'm a hungry dog with rabies.
Dogs.
I think just what you saying that it's gonna be, you're gonna see him and Newton competing, because I think Newton just a full off season.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about rehabbing that foot.
Yeah.
And just to see the little snippet we saw last year from him.
Yeah.
Being a rookie, like that's a rookie that we haven't talked a lot about this offseason that showed big highs. You know what I mean? Like last year was amazing.
Yeah, he was on my Get Loud show, and he had this smile on his face.
Yeah.
He was like, man, I'm so happy. I'm
good.
I'm ready right now.
Yeah.
Like, y'all finna see the real me.
And like, you think about it, his jump, his first step is almost sappish. Like, he might not be as big as Sap. He's a little.
No, they the same size.
But I'm just talking about,
wasn't that big.
Talking about like height wise. Height might Sap might got him in the height area.
Yeah.
But like, size,
body type, same
as
body
a whole. Like, man, I mean, he has that explosiveness about himself. So
it's funny. It's funny. We started talking the show off, and Fred was saying, "Oh, the interior guy." Even though we were trying to protect the edges of the defense, the interior guys are really important. And we did this on the last show, but I feel very strongly about it. I am so bullish on Duran, Jerzon, and Kinlaw, man. I am so bullish on those guys right now. I'm just like, if those
and
guys,
Eddie Goldman?
Eddie Goldman, like all four of those dudes. Wise is going to play both. And Holmes is probably going to, if he makes the team, will play both.
Yeah.
So I look at that, I'm like, man, this could be that interior.
Yes, can cause problems.
Man.
It could rot the gut of an offense. If you want to rot an offense, you got to do it right up the middle of the field. I have to kick that center's face in every play. If you want to dominate an offense, put that center in the lap of that quarterback. I don't care if he's a runner or not.
Yeah,
I dominate your defense. And I told you, we went from a third down defense last year to a first down defense this year. We are built for first down.
Yeah.
We're built
which
to
helps
conquer.
Us on third down.
We're built to conquer first down.
Yeah, which I mean is going to be really exciting. And so again, I think those guys are ready for a step forward. I think Quan Martin ready for a step forward.
No, I think Quan want to go to All-Star Pro Bowl type level. I think he's ready to take that step.
Yeah. So I think there's a bunch of guys, and obviously the backup kind of guys. Can McGee find a role? And, do some of those young
I think Jordan McGee just waiting his time. You know what I'm saying? He behind the vets of all vets.
He getting so much knowledge right now.
I'm saying
he might not even have to ask this guy nothing. Just watching him. I'm pretty sure he's been a sponge.
He's learning from osmosis. He's just there.
Yeah, but I think about specifically that defensive line, how that helps Bobby. Bobby at times last year was getting kind of, again, like
caught up in the wash.
Having a hard time getting the edge. We're not setting the edges. We're not doing what we're supposed to do. Now you got those guys in the interior.
But that's because you had the edge rusher rushing the field on the run play.
No, it's 100% right.
What are you doing?
Yeah. No. So I think that's something I'm really excited about. So I personally think, again, schematically they'll, like Fred said, they're going to layer it. It'll be a little bit of tweak here, a little bit tweak here, a little bit more experience calling the defense, a little bit more experience with the guys in the back end, but it's going to be a lot of the same. And I just think they've done a great job of getting the right types of people in the right spots to really make big impacts on this defense.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm really excited about. And unfortunately, we got to wait till August to see it kind of all come together.
August is already here. You smell that grass last week while we was at minicamp?
It's around the corner.
It's around the corner.
Did you smell that grass when we was at minicamp?
It did smell good.
That grass does something to me.
What is that? That Virginia creeper out there.
Listen, I don't know what it is, but when I walked out there, I was like, damn, I want to play football. I can't.
Did I tell you this? So when I came out and did the show with you, the minicamp show, the night before, I had a nightmare that I was in Atlanta. And Dan Quinn was cutting me. I kid you not.
Did you wake up in a cold sweat?
I woke up in a cold sweat. And it was one of those ones where I was like, do I have to go into the facility right now? I got to get my playbook. I don't even know where my playbook is. I was told, and my wife was like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think I just got cut.
You was like, oh, CTE.
And she's like, you haven't played football for about 6 years. And I was like, it was crazy, bro. But it is the season is the point of that story.
The alarm in your head was like, you couldn't turn it off, right?
It was like, it's time.
No, because when I went out there, I was like, ooh, I got a little adrenaline, started to pumping.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, calm down. You're not finna do anything.
I told BC the same thing though. When I was out there, I feel like the hairs on my arms started standing up. Because I'm like, damn, what is it about being here today, we out here all the time, but there's something about that day just gave me that little feeling, you know?
So that's 30 days away, and we can't wait.
We just wired like that for life. We lost in the sauce for life.
I can't be having weird nightmares like that.
I hope he's not wired like that for life.
I would love to be in his bedroom when he wake up. Oh, Coach Queen.
Oh no!
Hey, the Reaper.
That ain't you, is it?
So we can't wait to watch his defense, and then we'll probably do another update on the defense when training camp starts, and we'll do live shows on the Command Center show, which we can't wait to do. So, but in the meantime,
see that QR code right there?
See that QR right there? Forgot.
Right there.
This one. Yeah, right there we go. Make sure you hit that thing and buy those tickets there. Really help it. Really appreciate it. But that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks.
Peace.
That's it.